Terrorists attack army base in Borno, kill soldiers, burn vehicles and buildings. Disengaged CBN staff sue the Apex Bank, demand 30 billion naira in compensation. Labour Party's Peter Obi alleges threat to life over New Year message. On the foreign scene, Justin Trudeau resigns as Canada's Prime Minister. Hello, good evening and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Borno State, where terrorists affiliated with the Islamic State have allegedly killed 6 soldiers in a raid on a military base in Borno State, Nigeria. According to the AFP, 2 military officers reported that fighters from the Islamic State in West Africa province launched a pre-dawn assault on Sunday. The attackers, traveling on trucks and on motorcycles, targeted the base in Sabongari, located in the Damboa district of Borno State. The insurgents reportedly set fire to the base and military vehicles, killing 6 soldiers in the process. Fighter jets deployed from Maiduguri, the capital, about 100 kilometers away, struck the attackers as they retreated. The military has yet to confirm the attack or the casualty figures as of Monday afternoon. Let's go over to Maiduguri now, where Hamisu Matazu, the Media Trust Northeast Bureau Chief, is standing by to give us an update via phone call. Hamisu, good evening. What can you tell us about a confirmation from the Nigerian military about the attack and the casualty figures?
Well, we still don't have any confirmation from the military. We still wanted to know from them about the casualty figures. But I saw where the spokesman of the military confirmed the attack, I think in AP. He confirmed the attack, but could not give the actual figure of people that lost their lives, or the entire casualty was not given actually.
And Hamisu, is there anything peculiar about the Sabongari area part of Damboa that makes this attack stand out?
Yes, looking at the area, this is an area that has been under attack in the past, I think right from the when Boko Haram started. Because according to the security source who confided in me, said that the area has been attacked more than 100 times, he can say. But the attack on Saturday was a different one, because it's devastating. Looking at the figure, which he could not disclose, but he said that it's devastating. He could not give the actual figure, but he said dozens of people were killed, both military and that work closely with the security officers.
Right.
Yeah,
go ahead, Hamisu. Go ahead.
Yes, and people that have already how simply are in that area. One conclude that the insurgents are now gaining.
Okay, Hamisu. Yeah, yes. I'm afraid we're gonna have to end it here, because we barely can hear you. I think the connectivity is somewhat poor, but we'll keep tabs on this development and bring our viewers some more as soon as we learn more information. Thank you so much, Hamisu Matazu, Northeast Bureau Chief for Media Trust, reporting there on the latest developments in that attack in Sabongari area of Damboa, where it's been reported that some 6 of Nigerian military personnel have been killed in a pre-dawn attack by members linked to the ISWAP group in operating within that particular area. We'll bring you more as we learn more information on that attack. Still talking security, troops of 5 Battalion of the Nigerian Army have neutralized 2 criminal gangs that were responsible for the killing of 4 soldiers and abduction of 2 Korean expatriates who were staff of Daewoo Company in Ahoada West local government area of Rivers State. A statement issued in Port Harcourt on Monday by the Acting Deputy Director, Public Relations of the 6th Division of the Nigerian Army, Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma Jonah, says the operation was conducted following credible intelligence on the return of the wanted criminals to the community. He says the troops conducted cordon and search operations, which he said led to the recovery of several caches of arms and ammunition. He listed the recoveries to include 1 AK-47 rifle, 1 fabric national rifle, and 1 pump action gun. Others are 2 locally made rifles, 3 AK-47 magazines, 1 FN magazine, as well as 3 rounds of 7.62mm special and 13 rounds of 7.62mm, among others. The statement also says members of the criminal gang were apprehended during the operations. It reassured members of the public of the commitments of the division to safeguard lives and property, and enjoined the public to continue to provide actionable intelligence on the activities of such criminal gangs to security agencies. In other news, disengaged staff members of the Central Bank of Nigeria who were laid off in a mass redundancy last year have taken the Apex Bank to the National Industrial Court in Abuja. The aggrieved former staff members of the CBN, in an originating summons filed on July 4th, 2024 under the NICN Civil Procedure Rules of 2017, raised several issues for the court to determine. Among other matters, the ex-CBN staff members are asking the court to decide whether they were denied their constitutional right to fair hearing before and after the appointments were terminated. Now, the claimants, all represented by Okudili Abanum in a class action lawsuit, argue that the termination process carried out through letters titled Reorganizational and Human Capital Restructuring dated April 5, 2024, violated the CBN Human Resources Policies and Procedures Manual and Section 36 of the Nigerian Constitution. They also contend that the termination letters issued on the grounds of restructuring were arbitrary, illegal, and unconstitutional. They are also seeking 30 billion naira in general damages for psychological distress, hardship, and reputational harm caused by the dismissal, as well as an additional 500 million naira to cover the cost of the suit. During the first mention of the suit on November 20, 2024, the court urged the parties involved to attempt an amicable solution to the matter. Well, for more on this, let's join Barrister Sunday Wigere, a legal practitioner based in Yola, Adamawa State, where he can provide us with some insight into this development. Barrister, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour. What is your reading of this situation? It's surely looking like a class suit that is going to gain some traction, but what do you make of the facts of the matter so far?
Well, it is within, excuse me, it is within the right of the disengaged employees to challenge their disengagement so long as it is not within the tenets of the law and their contract of engagement. For a start, it is imperative that for every employer of labor in Nigeria must know that our labor laws are from the beginning in favor of employees. So whenever an employer is engaging employees, the terms of engagement must be clearly and unambiguously specified. Otherwise, the employer is going to face an uphill task before the law against his employer, his employee. So that is imperative. The case of the CBN employees, disengaged employees, very unique in the sense that it is a class action. And we live to see what the courts would decide on this from the industrial court. And I'm sure matter is one matter that will go up to the apex court. One, because whoever wins or loses, or whoever gets judgment in the long run, the judgment debtor or the judgment creditor, the judgment debtor is not going to take it lightly, or whoever loses would not take it lightly. He would want to go for that. So it is part of the development of the law. I welcome it as far as I'm concerned, and I believe we need such cases to make sure that our things, our laws keep growing.
Right. You mentioned, obviously, this is a class action, but the TBN wanted to lay off some 1,000 members of its employees, and the people mentioned in this class suit are less than 50. Talk to me about what CBN is at liberty to do here when it comes to disengagement, because even according to our labor laws, right, there is the redundancy clause. If a position is no longer needed in a company or an establishment, there are certain provisions with which you can explore to lay off particular staff. And the CBN says, listen, this is all part of our early exit packages and is voluntary. Based on what the CBN is telling us about this EEP, which is voluntary, what do you make of the arguments of the plaintiffs here, who say that it was quite arbitrary and they were subjected to all sorts of violations?
Well, the redundancy clause is always there in almost all engagement contracts, but it is not to be used arbitrarily. What are the causes that will lead to the declaration of the worker as redundant, that his service is no longer needed? There are conditions that must be fulfilled, that must be met before an employer would declare the service of, someone in the workforce as redundant. In the first place, how was the employment like? What led to the declaration of redundancy? So these are facts that must be met by the one doing the declaration, right, the employer in this case.
Okay.
So I believe the CBN is having an uphill task, and that is why organizations must sit up and ensure that whenever they are engaging the services of employees, they must not pander to political interests, so that these issues would not crop up. For whatever reason, the CBN, first and foremost, is being scandalized. If they cannot manage employment issues and employees, how do you expect them to manage the economy? This thing is creating perception issue for the apex bar. It is very fundamental. Nobody is going to. Sometimes we have people at the helm of affairs who don't holistically look at their actions or inactions on the overall interest of the organization they are heading. So these are some of these things. Actually, it is not just about the legal issues. It is also about the perception, the impact on the economy.
Right. And yeah. And just before we go,
we
Barrister,
just have to.
do you think the CBN can win the argument in the court, in the industrial court, by stating that they voluntarily accepted to be laid off, and that would shut the case?
This is a matter of fact to be proved before the court. If someone voluntarily accepts to exit the service, of course, they have to lead evidence against that. I mean, in support of that, their assertion. And now the issue is there could be threat, there could be undue influence, there could be misrepresentation. These are some of the issues as well. So most of these things actually they are before the court. We should not sometimes be talking too much about what are the issues and what are not the issues at this stage, because that will be subsidized.
Yeah.
So in the long run, we keep an eye on this, and we hope that anytime the case will be heard, your reporters will be there and be updating Nigerians on the arguments for or against what is before the court. And at the end of the day, we await the judgment. 30 billion naira is not a small issue that taken away from the bank at this crucial time will not be an issue. This is just the award. There are other issues also, legal fees and whatever. So whatever it is, we need these developments. At least organizations, not just government organizations, even private organizations will learn from these things, and our laws will be enriched.
Okay. Thank you so much for the legal expertise on this one, Barrister Sunday Wigira. I appreciate you for taking the time and for sharing your thoughts with us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Moving on, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command says its bomb squad has confirmed that an IED exploded at the Sangere Sani Uthman Islamia School located in Kuchibiu village, Biazing area of the FCT on Monday. According to the police, remnants of the device have been recovered. A statement by the command's public relations officer, Josephine Ade, says during the rescue operation, victims were promptly evacuated and rushed to the hospital for medical attention. Ade says preliminary investigations reveal that 3 men from Katsina had visited the owner of the Islamic school, Adamu Ashimu, adding that the 3 visitors are suspected to have brought the explosive device along. She noted that 2 of the men had died in the explosion while tampering with the IED on the school veranda, while the 3rd man and a female trader sustained severe injuries and are currently receiving treatment under police custody. The public relations officer said the owner of the school, Adamu Ashimu, has been taken into custody for questioning. The Commissioner of Police in the FCT, Olatunji Disu, urged members of the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activity, behavior or items that may resemble improvised devices to police nearest to their location. 4 persons have been burned to death after a diesel-laden tanker overturned and exploded in Abo Delta State. In the aftermath of the incident, the state governor has promised to support victims of the tragic incident. Trust TV's Jonathan Awanye has more on this development.
Charred remains of the tanker driver and his assistant lay scattered at the scene. Both were trapped inside the vehicle when the inferno erupted. Among the other casualties are a mother of 4 and a young boy, both caught in the blaze. The explosion left a trail of destruction, reducing houses, shops, cars, and 2 banks to ashes.
Fire got our building through the tanker that was carrying diesel, fell, and it burst into flames. The whole building, the whole line was burnt down. I'm dealing with electronics. I'm full of electronics, televisions, fans, and anything. But now, nothing, no single thing come out from it.
Burning. We were in church when they called that the shop was burning. So before we could come back here, The shop, both the warehouse, everywhere got burned yesterday. And we dropped 10 million in the shop yesterday and everything got burned yesterday. So we are begging the government to come and help us, that we need him, because we don't have anybody to call now.
I heard that this tanker failed brake, that it was conveying diesel. So when it fell, and I don't know how the fire managed to start. So that was what I heard. I wasn't here then. And I heard that some people died, but I don't know the number of persons that died. Because my shop under lock and key. I couldn't pick a dime out of my shop. Before I could get to this place, the building is already on fire. So I couldn't help it than to stand and be watching my shop, my nairas burning down.
Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborewori, represented by his deputy, visited the scene and assured residents that the government would investigate the cause of the disaster and take steps to prevent a recurrence. The governor's delegation also visited the family of the woman who lost her life in the fire, offering condolences and pledging support.
We are just human beings, we will do our best, but it is God that takes the ultimate decision. We pray for the repose of her soul. We that are alive will do whatever we can to cushion whatever effects.
My wife was in between the tanker and my vehicle, wanting to enter my vehicle when the explosion happened, and the explosion picked her. So I was confused. Do I kick this car or what? I said no. If I try to kick this thing, might engulf me and my son. I opened the door and ran away. My son tried to open. I said push it, because of that something that hit me at the back. When she came out, we started running. So it was when we were running, we looked back and saw my wife on the ground burning. And there was nothing to us. So after all, that is the true story. If the other thing you have heard is not true.
The tragic incident occurred on Sunday afternoon. Jonathan Anwanyai, Trust TV News, Asaba.
Sad scenes from Delta State there. In neighboring River State, the police has confirmed that 18 people were severely injured in a gas explosion that occurred in the Oroazi community of Port Harcourt. The explosion, which took place on Sunday evening at a gas refilling shop, caused significant damage to nearby buildings. This incident is part of a troubling series of gas and improvised explosive device incidents recorded in the state since 2024. Superintendent of Police Grace Iringo Koko, the command spokesperson, confirmed the explosion in an interview with newsmen on Monday. She stated that the injured victims, who suffered varying degrees of burns, were reportedly evacuated to the hospital for treatment. Iringo Koko also confirmed that the police has launched a full investigation into the incident and will share findings with the public. An eyewitness described the scene as devastating, noting that the victims included a pregnant woman, 4 children, and a couple. He added that many of the injured were rushed to the River State Teaching Hospital in Port Harcourt, expressing hope for their survival. To Oyo State, where Governor Seyi Makinde has vowed that suspects involved in the tragic stampede at the Islamic High School, Bashorun, Ibadan, which resulted in the deaths of at least 35 children, will face trial regardless of their status. Speaking at the 2025 Annual Interfaith Service for State Workers on Monday, Governor Makinde addressed calls for leniency, affirming that the rule of law will be upheld in Oyo State. He also acknowledged that some individuals have pointed to similar incidents in Anambra and the Federal Capital Territory where no prosecutions occurred, questioning why Oyo State should proceed differently.
35 innocent souls were lost. Quite a number of people, they've been reaching out to me saying, oh, this thing happened in Anambra State. It happened also FCT. Nobody went to jail. Why is it in Oyo State that some people are going to jail? I said, well, Oyo State is not Anambra State. And no matter how highly placed, justice must be done.
Governor Sheyi Makinde there speaking against the backdrop of the stampede last year. Now, the daughter of the secretary to the Sokoto state government has tragically died while attempting to rescue her children from a fire that ravaged their home. The fire, which began around midnight on Sunday, also claimed the life of their housemaid. At the time of the incident, her husband, Mohammed Yusuf Bello, the current permanent secretary in the Ministry for Sports and Youth Development, was reportedly away. The fire completely destroyed the house located in Nakasari area and spread to parts of nearby buildings before being extinguished by the combined efforts of firefighters, neighbors, and good members of the community. A firefighter who spoke on the condition of anonymity, as he was not authorized to make comments on the matter, revealed that while there were other people in the house, only the SSG's daughter, her 3 children, and the housemaids died in the blaze. Bello Garba, the spokesperson of the Sokoto State Fire Service, confirmed the deaths and stated that the fire caused extensive damage, destroying property worth millions of naira. In other news, Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, has denied allegations that this year's New Year message incited Nigerians, asserting that the message was meant to address pressing national issues. In a statement on Monday via X, Obi revealed that he had received threats to his life and family following the message, which he described as part of a broader effort to silence critical voices in the country. The Labour Party's candidate's New Year message, delivered during a press conference in Abuja titled "Nigeria Needs Selfless and Exemplary Leadership," criticized the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for failing to effectively address the nation's growing economic and security challenges. In response, the All Progressives Congress, through its National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka, accused Mr. Peter Obi of hypocrisy and attempting to stir public outrage against the government. Morka described Obi's remarks as, quote, misleading and efforts to score cheap political points. Obi, however, stood by his message, maintaining it was delivered in good faith and calling for constructive feedback on the state of the nation. As the cost of living in Nigeria continues to soar, families across the country are increasingly faced with difficult decisions between meeting basic needs and ensuring quality education for their children. With schools adjusting school fees to keep pace with the inflation in the country, many parents are grappling with a growing financial burden. The strain is leaving many families with tough decisions as the cost of education continues to rise, further deepening the challenges they already face in trying to make ends meet. Here's a report.
The soaring cost of living in Nigeria is pushing family budgets to their limits, creating a difficult balancing act between essential needs and education. Chuks David, a father of 2, describes the rising cost of school fees as a heavy burden, but maintains hope for the future. David highlights the challenges faced by parents across the country who are striving to provide quality education for their children amidst Nigerians' economic hardship.
As it is now, before I was paying 50,000 each for the boy and the girl, but now I'm paying over 80,000 for the boy and the girl. 80 each, 160. I was paying 100 then, at that last year. But now I'm paying over 80,000 for the both of them. And the school are the ones that are giving them books. We still pay for their books. We are still paying for everything. So it's just that, what can we do? If we tell them, they'll tell us that the cost of living in the country is going high. They'll need to increase the teachers' school fees. They'll need to, the books, the amount they are buying it before, it has gone high. So what should we do? So we cannot change our children's school because of they have increased their, and the school you are taking them to. Are you not still going to pay?
Emmanuel Zexco's story reflects the struggles of many Nigerian families who rely on hope and government intervention to navigate this challenging economic climate. For parents like him, Affordable education and basic necessities are not luxuries, but basic essentials for their children's future.
So when I'm working, the place I'm working, my salary with is not enough. And now my wife herself is not doing any more. So affected me in many ways. So the only thing we are pleading for the government to have a change for the masses, so that we ourselves can give our children more education and feed well. So it's a pity. We pray that things will have a different, this 2025 can be like last year, that there will be a change.
As families continue to grapple with these hardships, a collective effort from policymakers, educators, and the government is crucial to ensure that education remains both accessible and affordable for all.
To Jigawa State now, where an increasing number of youths are postponing marriages due to unemployment and the current economic hardship in the country. Now, despite obtaining higher education qualifications, many are struggling to secure meaningful jobs, delaying their intentions for marital aspirations. Here's the report.
Economic challenges have become a pressing issue among youth in Jigawa, with many expressing frustration over their inability to meet basic needs, let alone sustain a family. According to some youth, small-scale businesses barely provide enough to cover personal expenses, let alone support a household. They attribute the rising hardship to inflation and worsening poverty levels, calling on the federal government to reassess policies that disproportionately affect the less privileged.
We need the government to come to our aid so we can be self-reliant and support our family. I want to get married, but I don't have the means to take care of myself now. Talk more of a wife and my parents. I am a diploma graduate of mass communication, and presently I don't have a job. Even though I want to get married, I cannot afford it because of the current hardship we are facing. I am appealing to the government to assist us so we can help ourselves. I want to get married, but because of the economic hardship, I can't because I don't have the means to take care of a family. The government should put measures in place to help the youth. That is the only way we can support ourselves and our families.
Governor Malam Umar Namadi has acknowledged the plight of the state youths and introduced a series of initiatives to address unemployment. Over 8,000 youths have benefited from empowerment programs focused on skill acquisition and trade development. Additionally, the governor has prioritized employment creation, including the recruitment of more than 3,000 teachers under the JTech program. These initiatives underscore the government's commitment to reducing hardship and unemployment. While challenges persist, many youths remain optimistic that this effort will lead to lasting change and brighter opportunities in Jigawa State.
While you're watching the news on Trust TV, coming up ahead. Just Man keeps 20-year archive of daily Trust newspapers as a hobby. On this and many more stories up ahead. Join us again. The 22nd Daily Trust Dialogue theme: food security, availability or affordability. Date Thursday, 23rd January 2025. Time 10 a.m. Venue NAV Conference Center and Suites, Kado Expressway, Abuja. Special guest of honor, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, Right Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives. Chairman of the event, Professor Reverend Father Godfrey Zamujo, Founder and Director General, Songhai Farms, Benin Republic. Guest speakers, Alhaji Idi Mukhtar Maiha, Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, Ms. Mira Mehta, co-founder and CEO, Tomato Jos. Architect Kabir Ibrahim, National President, All Farmers Association of Nigeria. The broadcast will be live on Trust TV, StarTimes Channel 164, Nicomsat's free-to-air and more. For sponsorship, branding and participation, please contact 081-5176-4600 or 080-3392-8902. Don't miss out. Attendance is free. Welcome back to the news. Let's take another look at our top stories. Terrorists attack army base in Borno, kill soldiers, burn vehicles and buildings. Disengaged CBN staff sue Apex Bank, demand 30 billion naira in compensation. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Adeola Olamilekon, has confirmed January 31st, 2025 as provisional date for the passage of the 2025 49.7 trillion naira budget as the committee prepares to begin budget defense on Tuesday. He disclosed this on Monday during a meeting with the chairman of relevant committees on the template for the 2025 budget defense session to guide the budget process towards its eventual signing into law. Olamilekon further revealed that upon resumption of plenary by 14th of January, the Senate would immediately commence a 2-week break for seamless continuation of the budget defense process. He equally revealed a planned retreat on Thursday for the budget consideration, which will involve ministries, departments and agencies, as well as civil society organizations and any other stakeholder in the polity for further consultation and insight into the content of the budget proposal. According to the timetable, from the 15th to the 18th of January, it is expected that the committees would report back on their documents, followed collation and tidying up of the documents by the Appropriation Committee. Acknowledging the limited time frame, Olamilekon emphasized the need for lawmakers to intensify their efforts. In the Green Chamber, the House of Representatives is set to begin the crucial 2025 budget defense also on Tuesday, with ministries, departments and agencies of government slated to present their proposal for review. Chairman of the Appropriations Committee, Abubakar Kabir Bichi, who made this known in a briefing after the committee's inaugural meeting, says the budget defense will run until January 17, 2025. Bichi said the committee aims to harmonize the reports by January 22nd and the final report scheduled to be presented at plenary on January 31st. He says the process will involve in-depth analysis of the proposed expenditures, revenue, forecast, and other key aspects of the 2025 appropriation bill. Bichi emphasized that the committee's focus is on ensuring accountability and effective use of public funds, reassuring Nigerians that the scrutiny process will be rigorous and transparent.
We had the discussions in terms of budget defense. We are commencing from tomorrow to 17th of this month, and we are expecting that all the MDAs, both the ministers and health agencies, to come up to defend their budget, as Mr. President directed them to show off, so that we know what they have done in 2024 and what they are going to do in 2025. That's the essence for this meeting today. Of course, if you didn't show off, that means you don't have anything to say. So we can decide on what we can come up with budget. It's a long process actually. Budget depends, harmonizations, then present the reports. But we can see maybe towards the end of the month or early next month.
Elsewhere, the Rivers State High Court has ruled that Governor Siminalayi Fubara is legally empowered to transact business with the 3 lawmakers who have not vacated their seat in the State House of Assembly. This was contained in a court decision dated 20th December 2024, in which the presiding judge, Sika Aprioku, dismissed a suit seeking to compel the governor to represent the 2024 budget to the Martin Ameole-led Assembly. The said suit was filed by the registered trustees of the Association of Legislative Drafting and Advocacy Practitioners and had the government of Rivers State, the governor of Rivers State, and the Attorney General of the state as defendants. It sought to compel the governor to represent the 2024 budget to the 27 lawmakers led by Martins Amehule for passage into law. After considering the arguments from the different councils, Aprioku ruled that Governor Siminalayi Fubara could transact business with the members who did not vacate their seats. Back here in the FCT, the police say it has conducted a targeted operation leading to the arrest of 50 suspects. The operation followed reports of missing manholes on roads in the Federal Capital Territory, which has become a serious risk to lives of FCT residents. Noel Sampson, who was at the parade of the suspect, has more on this development.
It's recovered from the suspects includes 25 galvanized manhole covers, 5 solar street lights, several galvanized poles used in the construction of flyovers, 15 street light poles cut into smaller pieces, and several rows of high voltage AEDC cables. Others are 2 locally made pistols, 2 live cartridges, 1 sharp knife, 13 solar panels, 7 barrels of diesel suspected to have been stolen from network masts, 1 Volkswagen Sporter bus reconstructed into a diesel tanker, 1 Toyota Carina 2 vehicle, 4 plasma TV sets, among other exhibits. The Commissioner of Police highlighted steps the command is taking to halt the menace.
As I speak with you, shanties behind the new PDP secretariats are ongoing removal. As I speak with you, our officers are there. We have moved into the areas and it has been leveled down. As I speak with you, shanties near the Total Filling Station by NNPC is gone. As our officers are there and it has been leveled to the ground. Shanties behind the house, shanties housing Panteka at Akotuse has already gone the same way. We are going to identify areas where all these activities are taking place and we will do what is necessary.
One of the suspects spoke on his involvement in the crime.
No, na the people where they there, then go call the people go call me. Then call show me the thing when report for them.
Okay, the people show you the street line, maybe you call for them.
No, it did down. It don't carry and put inside the thing. The security way they for the security way they for the man garden.
Okay, how many times where you don't call time for them like that before?
No, only this one.
Eh?
This time.
This time. When they call you, say maybe you can't cut the iron. The iron be like their own.
Before I do this thing, I think I do mistake.
How you do mistake now? Should be like call
because
you
like you know supposed to say I do the thing like then do magic for me because sometimes I see people they do this kind of thing. I will pursue them.
The Commissioner of Police used the opportunity to emphasize that the FCT Command and other sister security agencies are operating a zero-tolerance policy towards acts of vandalism and theft that undermine public infrastructure and safety. He also said the achievement underscores the unwavering commitment to protecting critical infrastructure in the Federal Capital Territory. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Something light now. In an era where the reading culture seems to be fading fast, one man in Jos, the Plateau State capital, stands out as a testament to the enduring power of the written word. Nafiu Yao, a businessman and politician, has nurtured an extraordinary habit of buying and preserving copies of the Daily Trust newspaper for the past 2 decades. What began as a simple routine in 2004 has grown into a remarkable journey. Yao's commitment to collecting the newspaper every single day without fail has now spanned 20 years, making January a personal milestone. Ado Musa has more on his story.
Nafiu Yao has transformed a section of his home into a library dedicated to storing his vast collection of Daily Trust newspapers. He credits the newspaper for keeping him well informed on governance, politics and social issues over the years. Yao says his admiration for Daily Trust has only deepened with time.
Taking Daily Trust as my favorite newspaper, I have a lot of reasons. And there are some people that are waiting, or they are used to call me and say, Alhaji Justice, please, what is happening in this area is because they believe that if I tell them something, I have the source of the information. This is the benefit. to somebody to waiting for you to tell him that this is what is happening in our country.
In his words, Yao also explained his reason for preserving the newspapers for 20 years, citing the paper's credibility and value as a reliable source of information.
Keeping the papers make me happy because when I enter my library, I used to be very busy, the reading, the thinking of, for example, for the first 17 or 16 years, late President Yar'Adua, if I enter my library, for example, if I want to know something about his government, I will just go into that date of his tenure and check what I want to check and read to know what I want to know. I have confidence on Daily Trust because of their reliable news in our country.
He affirmed his commitment to continuing this lifelong habit, emphasizing that Daily Trust will always remain his trusted source for news. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
All right, time now for some business. Here's Yusuf Akugu with the latest.
Welcome to Stock Market Update. I am Yusuf Akugu. The domestic bourse maintained positive sentiment in 2025 as the all-share index opened the week in green. The all-share index up by 0.06%. The market capitalization also up there 63.20 trillion naira. The volume of trade 855.97 million shares valued at 13.25 billion naira. In addition of 16,505 did exchange hands among investors. Looking at the top gainers from today's trading, Darcom PLC lead the table 10% it gained to close at 77 kobo per share. Honey Flower also gained 9.99% to close at 8 naira and 37 kobo per share. Wapik, an insurance company, gained 9.96% to close at 2 naira and 98 kobo per share there as well. Looking at the bottom losers for today, we see Suno Assurance lead at table 7.74% to close at 10 naira and 61 kobo per share. CI Leasing also down as well 7.69% to close at 4 naira and 20 kobo per share. From the aviation subsector of the market, Cavity Helicopter down 5.36% to close at 2 naira and 65 kobo per share. Looking at the top trading equities by volume, Sham PLC lead the table 80.76 million shares it traded. Veritas Capital 60.49 million shares. Of course, Access Corporation 54.33 million shares it traded as well. And that's the highlight of Nigerian stock market. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. Stock market update. I am Yusuf Akogu.
All right, let's take a look at developments on the international scene. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Monday announced his resignation, saying he will leave office as soon as the ruling Liberty Party chooses a new leader after months of slumping polls and internal division. It was not immediately clear how long Trudeau will remain in office as a caretaker premier. That means he will continue to lead Canada when incoming US President Donald Trump takes office this month and will be tasked with leading the country's initial response to the new year's administration, including a possible trade war. Trump has vowed to impose 25% on all Canadian imports, which could prove devastating to the Canadian economy. But Trudeau has vowed to retaliate. Trudeau's support within the Liberal Party had been teetering through much of last year, but plunged to new depths following the surprise resignation in December of his former Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
To France now, where President Emmanuel Macron on Monday said he's still waiting for thanks from the Sahelian states for Paris' efforts in preventing them from succumbing to militant control. He also rejected claims that France had been forced out of the region. Addressing French ambassadors at the annual Foreign Policy Conference for 2025, President Macron affirmed that France made the right decision to intervene in 2013 to combat Islamist militants, despite the fact that those countries have since distanced themselves from French military assistance. French troops have in recent years pulled out of Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso after successive military coups and are in the process of withdrawing from Chad, Senegal and Ivory Coast. Macron dismissed the notion that Paris had been kicked out of the region, saying it had decided to reorganize its strategy. And now for some sports news with Emmanuel Fashemi.
Akwa United Football Club has agreed a mid-season managerial contract with coach Kennedy Boboye. The management of the Uyo-based club signed a deal with coach Boboye at their office in Uyo on Monday, January 6, 2025, with the coach expected to begin work later this week. Chairman of the club, Paul Bassi, described Boboye's return to the team as necessary, adding that the decision to reassign Boboye was because of his track records and previous achievements with the club. Bassi expressed optimism that the coach will bring his wealth of experience to bear on the team and turn around the team's fortunes in the second half of the season. Coach Boboye joined the Promise Keepers during the 2019-2020 MPFL season and won the league title with the club in the 2020-2021 season, his second league title as a coach after lifting the trophy with Plateau United in 2017. Akwa United sits 19 on the MPFL log with 19 points after 19 games played in the first phase of the season as the league is on break. The Nigerian National League organizers has imposed fines on Sporting Supreme FC of Abuja and Kada Warriors FC following reports of the match day 4 clash between the two teams at the Buhari Township Stadium on January 4, 2025. According to the NNL, official reports says the match was delayed by 41 minutes due to inadequate security, with only few NSCDC officials and vigilantes present as at official kickoff time. The report also stated that the Kada City fans were unruly, throwing sachet water onto the field in protest of the referee's decision. Additionally, the home team's ball boys were accused of tactically withdrawing 6 marked balls to delay the game, leaving only 4 balls visible with 12 minutes remaining. The referee was praised for his professional conduct in controlling the game despite the challenges. As a result, the league has fined Kada Warriors FC 200,000 naira for the unruly behavior of their fans, while Sporting Supreme FC has been fined 500,000 naira for poor security arrangements leading to the delayed start. The league also issued a warning to all participating clubs regarding the unsportsmanlike practice of hiding balls, stating that any erring clubs will face heavy sanctions in the future. Both clubs have the right to accept the fines in writing or appeal to the disciplinary committee within 48 hours of receiving the letter. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashemi.
And that is it. You're up to date with the latest news stories of the day on Trust TV's News Hour. Feel free to follow us across our social media platforms to stay in touch. You can also visit our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news, programs, and documentaries. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. From myself and the rest of the team, thank you for your time and good luck.